Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. You know what's interesting? 3 days ago, all the leaves behind me were absolutely green. And now if you look up, you could see that it's all turned. Over in 3 days, it went from green to a beautiful yellow. And here in the Northeast, when the leaves turn, it is a beautiful time of year. Today, we have another multi-tool, but I don't think anybody's ever seen this. And I really, if you have seen one of these, please let me know because this might be a prototype. I've never seen anything like it. Let's go check it out. It should be a good one. Okay, today's project, another multi-tool. I saw this at a show about a year ago. It didn't sell. He wanted 15. He dropped it down to $10, so I bought it. This I've never seen before. And before we get into what it does and stuff, there's some little spots of rust and some rust here on the handle and things like that. So let me clean this up and we'll get talking about it and see what we could do with the hammer face. You know, this should be shiny around here. So we'll work on that and get back to it. Okay, we're calling this tool done. Didn't require a lot of work, but you know, when you have tools, especially specialty tools like this or whatever, a lot of times the tools come with sharp edges, and that's a big problem with a lot of tool makers. And they'll throw out a tool and they won't go over the edges. See, like all these edges up here, they all have to be softened, because when you grab a tool or hold a tool, you don't want to be cut or scraped or something or feel uncomfortable. So I went over every tool, every edge over here and softened it, you know, put a little bevel on it so that you can touch it and you won't have any issues. Let's talk about this tool. I've never seen one like it before. There are similar tools but I've never seen this exact tool, especially with the knurled handles. That's another thing. These handles are beautifully knurled, but the handle is forged. The whole tool is drop forged, so I don't know how they accomplished that, such nice knurling on there. You could see where it was sheared off. You know, it was on some kind of tree or something, and they cut that off. And it has obviously the hammer, the pliers, two sets of pliers, another set of gripping jaws here, wrench up here of some sort, and then it has wire strippers here. So let's try the tool out and see how it works. Okay, let's start off with the wire strippers. You can see there's a set of 4. They're very sharp, and we'll try it with a piece of stranded copper wire. Put it into the second one here, and we'll just squeeze it and turn it a little bit to cut the insulation, because it is set up that way, and then pull it off and see how that works. Okay, well, we're able to strip it out. Let's take a look at the kind of stripping it did. Didn't damage any of the wires, so the wire stripper does work. Another feature over here it has is a wire cutter, and you can see when you open it up right under the jaws there, you can, but you don't have a lot of room that you could put in there. But let's put a piece of wire in here and see how that, yeah, it cuts very easy. Probably could cut nails, but you don't, like I said, you have limited amount of room that you could put in there. Same with the type of jaws. The jaws all feel very solid and strong. Again, this is a drop forged tool. Let's check out. Okay, we have these lower jaws here that if you had to use for tubing, you can see you get a really good grip on here for turning tubing. The upper jaws here, you could see if you had to use it for a any kind of nut turning or something, you could see how this is set up, that it would grip around. It doesn't sit perfectly on the nut, but it does grip and it will not slip. So that's an interesting feature. In the front here, you had the regular pliers here that if you had to grip something and make some kind of bends or turns, that works very well. They do close up nice and tightly, and they also would work as a decent nail puller. Let me show you. I cleaned up the head of this hammer and everything, but it has a nice forward weight to it. So if you had to use it for a hammer, this isn't like your typical multi-tool. This does have a nice, you see, it doesn't bounce around too much. Now if you want to use the nail puller on here, like I was saying, you can use it by gripping here and using the fulcrum of this jaw back here. You could grip it and pull it out of the whatever you are going to use it for. So it does work in that sense. And again, the hammer is a nice hammer. So in closing, this is one of the better multi-tools I've ever seen. Again, Drop Forge Construction. You can hear, listen to the closing. You could hear the steel that's used, and you could tell just by, it's not a cast piece of junk. It's really interesting. So whether or not it'll be used a lot, I don't know, but it's the knurled handles are cool, and it has a nice springy effect when you squeeze it tight, and the hammer works really well. So I like it, and just want to show it to you. And thanks so much for tuning in, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.